Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm excited to share this podcast with you. It's a little bit of a shorter one today, but something that's very, very important and something that I dismissed for a long time, but I felt like I needed to talk about it. There is a saying that small hinges swing big doors. Think about that. Small hinges swing big doors. It's by little things that big things can happen. And today, what I want to talk about is one of those small hinges that swing big doors, kind of like read alouds, right? Such a simple thing, and yet makes such a huge difference for children's literacy. Uh, I was talking to a friend of mine who is a pediatric anesthesiologist, and with read alouds, one of the things that he talked about was that he started having parents read to their children as he's putting kids under anesthesia for big surgeries, and the power that's come from that. And he's like, I had no idea that something so simple like reading aloud to kids would make such a big difference as an anesthesiologist with these children. Huge, right? And maybe I'll have him on the podcast. I should probably reach out and see. But what I want to talk about today is one of those little hinges, like read aloud, and that is eating together. Eating together as a family. I want to talk about the power that comes from that and what we can do to bring our families together at the dinner table. Now, as I mentioned in previous podcasts, I, for a very long time, was a hiring person, and I helped small business owners hire throughout the country, helped my husband hire. I hired, done thousands of interviews. But one of the single most powerful interviews that we'd actually do, and I would encourage small business owners again and again and again, as the final step in the interview, is to take the candidate and their spouse out to dinner. And the reason I'd have them do that is because there's something special and magical that happens when we break bread together. It's more relaxed, we're able to talk, and it's just more relaxed setting. And so I would encourage small business owners to do that. When you have a final candidate, take them and their spouse or their significant other out to dinner. And if they don't have one, just take them out to dinner and just break bread together, get to know them. So what's fascinating is in our country, the statistics of families that actually eat together is very, very low, and it continuously drops and has been dropping over the years. But the benefits for us and for our kids is astronomical. Again, small hinges swing big doors. So I want to read to you some of the benefits of eating together. And in this case, they talk about, it's the benefits of the family table. This is from the American College of Pediatrics. Is that the right thing? Yes, American College of Pediatricians, sorry. So this is what they say, is that, here we go, the benefits of the family table. I'm going to read this now. It's a little bit long, but I want you to hear this because it blew my mind. Quote, as early as 1943, researchers were discussing the benefits of the family table from a sociological and cultural viewpoint. Family table talk is an essential part of the process whereby the family inducts the child into the life of society. Family meals allow the parents to impart values and traditions, as well as demonstrate appropriate relationships, communication techniques, and problem-solving skills. Family meals are powerful for many reasons. First, meal times impact all of our senses: the sight, touch, taste, and smell of food, as well as listening to family conversation. Family meals offer the opportunity to spend time together, reconnect after a busy day, communicate with and listen to each other, share family values and ideas, and problem solve. Family meals also contribute to traditions that tie families together. I want you to think about like Christmas dinner and all these other traditions. Like a lot of times it revolves around eating together, right? Anyway, I go on. Continue to quote, a special food for a birthday celebration, a favorite place to eat for special occasions, a cultural or ethnic food unique to the family's heritage. These become traditions that provide meaning and context for your children as they grow. Family meals provide structure for the day, allowing children to feel more secure and safe, knowing what to expect. They also permit parental monitoring of children's moods, behavior, and activities, providing parents with insight into the emotional well-being of their children. When extended to neighbors and friends, family meals allow children to learn and appreciate social interactions, understand the importance of community, and experience different ideas while under the guidance of their parents. The family table is one of the very few places that children can observe their parents interact, negotiate, solve problems, express emotions, and treat one another with respect. A child's world is mostly spent with peers and teachers, except for us because we homeschool. The family table gives them a chance to see how adults interact and cooperate. Again, this was written for the general population. Those of us who homeschool our children do not spend as much time with peers and teachers. They spend more time with us. But meal times still are essential. So listen to this. These are some of the benefits, my friends, of meal times together. Listen to this. Improved academics. Now, if we're homeschooling, it's a little bit different for us. But still, listen, hear me out. Language development is enhanced. Mealtimes offer unique opportunities for children to learn as they have a greater likelihood of hearing conversations that include explanations and narratives. Children expand their vocabularies as they hear new words and conversations. There's a connection between children's language experiences during their preschool years and their future literacy skills in grade school and high school. Teens who have frequent family dinners are more likely to obtain better grades in school, unless they're my kids and they don't get grades. Teens who have dinner with their family 7 times a week are almost 40% likelier to say that they receive mostly A's and B's in school compared to teens who have dinner with their families 2 times or fewer a week. That's 62% versus 45%. Again, those of us who homeschool, it's a little bit different, right? Because our kids don't go to school. But that's not all. Listen to what else. It improves family relationships and socialization. Teens having frequent family dinners are more likely to report having excellent relationships with their family. 1.5 times more likely to have an excellent relationship with their mother. Twice as likely to have an excellent relationship with their father. Twice as likely to have an excellent relationship with their siblings. Teens surveyed state they like family meal times. 71% of teenagers in one survey said that they consider talking or catching up and spending time with family members as the best part of family dinners. Parents and adolescents agree that sharing meals has a positive influence on the family. More family talks occur during mealtime than during any other activity, including playing with toys or storybook reading. Again, there's the read aloud. Family meals benefit all children, including those with disability, by helping them improve their social skills. Then it helps with nutrition and decreased obesity. Listen to this. Children ages 9 to 14 have more regular dinners with their families, have more healthful dietary patterns, including eating more fruits and vegetables, less saturated and trans fat, fewer fried foods and sodas, lower glycemic load, and more vitamins and other micronutrients. Children are 35% less likely to engage in disordered eating. Children are 24% more likely to eat healthier foods. It goes on and on and on and on. Okay, so now I'm just going to skip all of the physical benefits, right? Now we're going to go to decreased screen time and television viewing. Teens having fewer family dinners report more TV watching during meals, less talk during dinner, and express that the meals do not last long enough. Now, get this. People who eat together with their families have decreased risk of drug, alcohol, and nicotine use, decreased marijuana use. Teens who have frequent family dinners fewer than 3 times per week are 2.5 times more likely to use marijuana. Decreased alcohol use. Teens who have frequent family dinners are twice as likely to use alcohol. Decreased nicotine use. Teens who have infrequent family dinners are 4 times more likely to use tobacco. Decreased overall substance abuse, alcohol, nicotine, and marijuana, especially in female adolescents. Decreased access to prescription drugs. Teens who have infrequent family dinners are more likely to have access to prescription drugs in order to get high. Decreased likelihood that friends use drugs. Teens who have infrequent family meals, fewer than 2 meals per week, are 3 times more likely to report that at least half of their friends use marijuana. Teens who have infrequent family meals are twice as likely to know a friend who uses ecstasy. Teens who have infrequent family meals are 80% more likely to know a friend who abuses prescription drugs. Decreased other high-risk behaviors. Again, I'm still quoting my friends. This is unbelievable. This blew my mind. Teens who had more frequent family meal dinners were less likely to engage in sexual activity. Even after controlling for family connectedness and other family activities, teens who had more frequent family dinners were less likely to engage in problem behaviors such as physical violence, property destruction, stealing, and running away from home. And then it goes on to mental health. Listen to this. The more frequent the family meals, the better emotional health of the adolescent, according to the study of more than 26,000 Canadian teens between 11 and 15 years of age. Teens with more frequent family meals had fewer emotional and behavioral problems. Teens were more trusting and had more helpful behaviors towards others. Teens had higher life satisfaction regardless of family economics. Children whose family had positive meal experiences age 6 years were less likely to demonstrate physical aggression, oppositional behavior, non-aggressive delinquency, and reactive aggression when assessed 4 years later. Family meals may help protect adolescents from the harmful effects of cyberbullying. Teens who had more frequent family dinners were less likely to experience depression. Teens who ate 7 or more meals each week with their families were less likely to report a suicide attempt. Parents who also benefit from family meals, both mothers and fathers who had more frequent family meals were less likely to describe depressive symptoms, had a lower stress index, and had greater self-esteem. And I end quote. What the heck? Little small hinges swing big doors. Such a simple thing as eating with our families makes a big difference, not only for us, but for our kids. So, my question to you is, how often are you eating together as a family? So, we are not perfect with breakfast and lunch. It tends to be a little bit chaotic in the mornings as my husband's getting ready for work and my other kids are starting their day. But when we can, we try to eat breakfast together. But I've been religious ever since getting married about eating dinner together. And there's some days that our dinners are just straight up lame. Like where I take the turkey sausage that you buy in the package and I cut it up and I fry it up and then I make rice and throw it in and throw in some veggies and call it good, right? Sometimes our dinners they're just lame. And other times, like I try to make a really good Sunday dinner. But what I've noticed is like the dinner time matters to my kids. They matter to my family. It matters to other people. We have frequent guests that come. There's sometimes we'll do lunches as I wish we were better about the lunch piece with homeschooling, but we've had public school kids who come over to our house for lunches. My kids have some friends that come over pretty regularly for family dinners because in many cases their families don't have meals together. But it means something for my kids' friends to eat with us, to sit down and we pray together and we break bread together and then we eat together. I have one of my son's friends comes over and a lot of times he'll help me cook dinner. And he enjoys it. He enjoys helping. But the cool thing is number one, like when we are preparing our food, like our kids can help. My kids have become really adept at cooking because they've helped me in the kitchen, not always, But oftentimes they'll come and help me in the kitchen. Now, I tried doing it where like each child took a day and they got to be in charge of the meal. And inevitably they're like, okay, we're going to do mac and cheese and hot dogs. And I'm like, yeah, that is, guys, seriously, come on, let's be more creative than that. And granted, we have our standard meals. Like we have tacos pretty regularly. We have spaghetti pretty regularly. We have sausage and rice pretty regularly. But eating together means something. I try when we eat dinner together, which is, it's like we do it 6 out of 7 days a week. I try to make sure that when we have conversations at the table, that's not the time to bring up the bad things that happen during the day. I want to talk about the good things that happen during the day and the positive things. On Sundays, when we have Sunday dinner, like what things happened at church that were great and what did they learn? It's that time when my husband gets home and we're having dinner together that my kids can share with him the things that they learned throughout the day, the things that they worked on. And it becomes a beautiful time to break bread. And it doesn't have to last for hours and hours. You know, sometimes it's only 20 minutes, but it's a good 20 minutes. Again, small hinges swing very big doors. So this is a suggestion that they give in the same article, which I will put in the show notes so that y'all can link it. I also did some research that was done at Harvard, so I'll include that in the link as in the show notes as well. The link to that article. But it says every family. Again, this is from the American College of Pediatricians. Implementations of the family table. Every family will choose to implement the family table in a unique way that fits the lifestyle and culture of the members. Here are some guidelines to consider. Allow your children to help you with food preparation whenever possible. I'm telling you, my kids can cook, and it's because they do help me, not every day. Some days it's like pulling teeth to get them to help me with family dinner, but oftentimes they do like to help, especially the littles. They love to help. Second thing, eat together as a family whenever you can, even if it's just two of you that are at home at a time. Number 3, designate a location in your home for most of your family meals. There is power in the kitchen table, I tell you. Kitchen table, I once read a poem about the kitchen table. Like that's where we bury the hatchet. That's where we eat together. That's where we resolve problems. That's where we play games together. Kitchen table, super important. Anyway, keep going. Turn off the television, computer, and all personal digital devices. We have a rule in my household. No cell phones at the dinner table. Put them away. We're going to look at each other and enjoy the food. And we're going to talk. Okay, they don't always enjoy the food, but when possible, enjoy the food. Next thing, during the meal, encourage pleasant and respectful conversation. To encourage conversation, consider utilizing a technique such as sharing the rose, thorn, bud technique. Something during the day that was happy, that's the rose, sad, that's the thorn, and bud, something the person is looking forward to. So that's the rose, thorn, bud. Again, you have each person share something that was happy, something that was sad, and something that they're looking forward to. And then they give other conversation ideas that at the Family Dinner Project. Again, I will link that in the show notes below so that you can see other ideas to spark conversation at the dinner table. Okay, so next thing is serve a variety of healthy foods during the week. So change it up. Throw some vegetables and stuff. When I make fettuccine at home with chicken, I like to throw in some green beans in there, and the kids don't seem to mind it so much. So I can throw in green beans at different times or throw in different vegetables, and they don't seem to notice. Ideally, serve the same foods to all family members, thus avoiding short order cooking and encouraging variety in the diet. Now, my husband has a very strict eating plan because he has some health issues and a lot of food allergies. So my husband gets a different meal than everybody else, but we've learned to work with that. Right. And everybody else eats one thing and then he has this very specific meal. And if everyone had to eat that every day, I think my kids would poke their eyes out. I know I certainly would. But otherwise, like if my 8-year-old doesn't like the meal, I'm like, well, I guess you're on your own can enjoy breakfast in the morning. Require that everyone stay at the table until all family members are finished and enjoy the moment. Don't rush the meal or conversation. Some other fun things that we can do is sometimes add a tablecloth, light a candle, put a little plant on the table, a little rose. Sundays are special for our family because my 8-year-old likes to fold the napkins pretty, and she likes to help me make the table look pretty. On Sundays, we like to make the table look prettier and make it more special. And we also try to have guests over and neighbors over and different people over to break bread together, because there's just something beautiful about eating together. So my challenge for you is, if you aren't already, bring back dinner together. And if you're already doing dinner, I challenge you, and I'm challenging myself, to start adding other meals together too. My friends, we homeschool. We could eat together at lunch. That actually was one thing that did surprise me, is because I'm not that we never eat lunch together, but oftentimes, we do when the weeks aren't too crazy. And it's really cool to sit down with my kids at lunchtime and all eat together. The other morning, this is on Monday morning. I'm recording this on a Thursday. So on Monday morning, my teenage son said, "Hey, Mom." Actually, it was Sunday night he told me this. He said, "Hey, Mom, I'm having all of these boys over, and they all go to different schools, and some are homeschooled, some are not. They all go to different public schools or charter schools." And he said, "I'm inviting all these guys over to have breakfast before everyone goes to school, and they're coming over at 5 a.m., and we're going to make biscuits and fried chicken, and we're going to do chicken and biscuits." And yeah, I bought this stuff, Saturday night, and it's in the fridge, and we've got all this stuff in the pantry to make everything. I've already printed out recipes, and I've got this group of boys to come over to make breakfast with us and to have breakfast. So I get up to go to the gym pretty early with my husband. And so when we left for the gym, it was, I think we left at 5:15, 5:30, and I honestly didn't think anybody was going to come over at 5 a.m. because their school starts for some of these boys really early. I think it's like 7:45. But I get up to go to the gym, and there are 5 extra teenage boys in my kitchen. And they were all cooking together and laughing, and just good, like great boys, and funny and having a blast. And they were cooking from scratch fried chicken. One of them was in charge of, he's like, "I've got all the spices." He went through, seasoned everything. And another boy was in charge of getting the biscuits taken care of. And they were just like, one was setting the table. Like, they were all just busy bees working to make breakfast together. And so we got some pictures, and we got home from the gym, and I asked my son how it went. And there was still a couple stragglers that didn't have to be to school till a little bit later because they went to different schools. And he said, "Mom, it was the coolest thing." And they had a blast. It was so fun. Now, as a mom, my mama heart was so happy because I look at all these kids, all these teenagers who get themselves into so much trouble, right? So much garbage out there. And here I had all these teenage boys at my house cooking breakfast and breaking bread together. But not only that, my son invited our my son, yes, go ahead. Yes, I do want service today. Could you come back in an hour? Yes. Thank you so much. The coolest part was that my son invited his siblings to join all these boys in for breakfast. The coolest part about this is that my son and his friends invited my other kids to join them for breakfast. So here are all these teenage boys and the rest of my kids eating breakfast together. We get home and they cleaned up everything, and it was just a really marvelous experience for these kids. Small hinges swing big doors. There is power when we eat together. So my challenge this week, I want you to try eating together more. And if you already do, add in a couple extra meals. That's my goal, is with my kids. Like, I want to start implementing more lunches together. Like, again, it's spotty for us with lunches, depending on what child is doing what. But have your kids prepare food with you. As they start to prepare food with you, guess what? They learn to cook. If you don't know how to cook, watch a YouTube video and learn a basic recipe or two. Like, tacos are super easy if you don't already know how to do those. Super easy. Spaghetti, also very easy. By the way, you could get one thing of ground beef and ground it all up and cook it all and use half for tacos one day and half for spaghetti the next day, right? But that's my challenge to you. I want to see more families eating together. And since we homeschool, it's a lot easier. So that's my challenge, because again, small hinges swing big doors. I hope you have a great week. I hope you eat together. I would love to hear how your family meals go. Makes one day a week special, maybe Sunday. Put light candles, put on a tablecloth, make it look pretty, set the table pretty. Use glass or ceramic instead of real dishes, instead of paper plates. And I'd love to hear how it goes with your family meals. Swing some big doors, my friend. Swing some big doors. I hope you have a great week. You're doing better than you think you are. You got this, mamas and papas. Until next week.
If you enjoyed this today, please like and subscribe. You could also join our private Facebook group at School to Homeschool, or sign up for our newsletter at www.schooltohomeschool. Have a great day.